So, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Ibrahim Traoré paid a very, very important visit to one of the front lines in Burkina Faso today. And what he actually discussed with the soldiers is very, very important. And when I listened to what he had to say, man, I've been praying for some of these things. And man, this man, he just can't do no wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, before I give my honest review on what he said, let's watch this video.
Bonjour à tous, j'espère que vous portez très bien ici. D'abord, félicitations pour tout le travail que vous abattez. Beaucoup de courage. Vous êtes engagés pour défendre la patrie au sacrifice suprême. Engagement pour défendre la patrie jusqu'au sacrifice suprême. L'ennemi, lorsque ça commence à tomber, il n'a pas le choix, il va replier. Je vous exhorte à ne pas baisser les bras. C'est pas fini. Même si vous avez un long temps de latence, il n'y a pas d'attaque à côté, l'ennemi peut se préparer pendant longtemps, faire une infiltration pour une action, juste pour faire mal. Vous avez décidé de défendre la patrie, vous ne vous appartenez plus. Vous appartenez au peuple. C'est pour le peuple que vous êtes là. Donc, vous devez tout mettre en œuvre pour vous protéger et combattre. Beaucoup de courage. Et je prie Dieu qu'il vous protège et qu'il vous garde. Amen. Et que vous puissiez continuer à veiller sur ces populations qui sont là à vaquer paisiblement à leurs occupations. C'est tout ce qu'elles demandent. Vivre et travailler. Et grâce à vous, la vie a repris. Les gens travaillent. C'est une fierté, non? Quand vous partez les voir, vous êtes fiers de votre travail. Vous êtes fiers de ce que vous faites. C'est vous qui veillez sur leur vie. Et il n'y a pas de raison que vous baissez les bras. Vous devez continuer à suer. On est là pour un but. Il faut accomplir la mission. La mission est sacrée. Vous devez l'accomplir. Pensez toujours aux populations sur qui vous veillez. Passez, regardez-les. C'est vous qui leur donnez l'espoir de vivre. Mais vous ne devez pas baisser les bras. Ce n'est pas parce qu'ils vaquent à leurs occupations que vous devez dormir. C'est bon? Vous voyez que l'essentiel de mes propos, se résume sur ça. Donc, je vous exhorte à redoubler de vigilance, à rehausser le niveau. Bonne chance, bon courage, que Dieu vous protège et que vous puissiez protéger donc toutes ces populations autour de vous.
What I've realized about Captain Ibrahim Traoré, without no dispute, is he understands the tricks of the trade when it comes to how you deal with terrorists. He understands the tricks of the trade, I repeat, because this is the same man that talked about how troops get distracted by the mobile phone. And I think there were some specific units that actually used what he gave them, and we saw results, right? We actually saw beautiful results. And I think over time, the human nature that actually comes with complacency, just, it start creeping back in, and, it can affect results on the line of contact. But again, what he said today is actually important. First of all, he talked about something specifically, which I have noticed. You will notice that apart from the fact that we're going to bring information tomorrow because we are still gathering information, recently, there has not been, we hardly miss a day before we give information about frontline operation before. But recently, we noticed that the major places that usually suffer attacks, right? The attack has stopped. Apart from the fact that whenever this attack happens, the troops majorly comes out on top most of the time. But what we noticed is that the attack stopped recently. Now, there is an information that I would like to share with you. In the Tillaberi region of Niger, I think yesterday, about 78 JNIM were deleted, right, by the IS Sahel. According to what the terrorist sources gave out, they said the JNIM just unfortunately got in the way of the IS Sahel. that it was not the JNIM that the high Sahel terrorists were actually, targeting. That was not the JNIM, that they were actually looking for Nigerian troops. But unfortunately for them, the JNIM got in their way and they deleted 78. The first question is, you don't delete 78. You don't delete 78 people by mistake, in my own opinion. I think it's a battle of supremacy between both sects. But the problem is, they want to somehow, they want to try to, make the civilians, like we, the audience, they want to make it look as if there is no internal crisis. You understand? Because they feel like it's a sign of weakness that they're showing if they start, bringing out the information that there's an internal crisis, and they know that most of this information they put out there, the troops are able to see it. If I can see it, the intelligence agencies are able to see it. And once they see it, they take the advantage of that opportunity, that window. So they try to make it, but I'm very, very sure 78 is not small, right? They show the pictures of the whole front floor littered where they started shouting their Islamic, words and everything like that. Now, I know the JNIM is going to try to get their get back from the ISIL. Now, what I don't understand is, I think the JNIM is majorly sponsored by who. The JNIM. I know you know who is sponsoring them. The ones that Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger kicked out, right? Because I noticed that whenever I mention their name, they are already, I don't know, something just paralyzed the video completely. So we're not going to mention names. The IS Sahel, right? I think they are sponsored by the same organization or the same group of people that are funding the ISWAP and all this. They are in Mozambique too. They call them IS Mozambique and stuff like that. I think the guys that sponsor the JNIM, they are in charge of the FLA. Yeah, I think they are in charge of the FLA and some other groups like that, like the EIGS. But after Boubacar Oubel gave up, those ones have actually retreated. We don't even hear nothing about them again. And the Malians actually carried out a thunderous strike the last time on them. And I think that was the end of what we saw. The Malians actually destroyed them to the last extent. And I think the JNIM, out of their supremacy battle, landed the finishing blow on them. And since then, we've not heard anything. I don't think they even exist anymore. If they exist, I think it's just remnant, and those remnants have retreated. I think the people that fund the IS Sahel, I suspect, which might be, from the Middle East. I think that's where those ones are coming from. Because the people that sponsor the JNIM try to bribe the ISWAP in Nigeria, but the ISWAP turned it down. So I think there are different funders. And I think the reason why they are funding this thing is, look, I think Africa is like a battleground for resources for these people. We have to understand this very clearly. So they are funding these different groups. You understand? And I think before they did this, let's not just look at this whole terrorism issue that has just started now. I think they've been building the ground for this moment. Starting with poverty, starting with the capitalism, they gradually built the foundation for this moment, because we can't deny that lack of proper education and poverty brought us bad political system. Puppets brought us to this point. Yes. So Ibrahim Traoré said something, right? The president of Faso said, there is always a latency period, and that is where they are right now. A period where everywhere is data hotel. You don't get any attacks. Yes, that is where they are now. And this period is coming after the Banwa defeat, where a lot of them were tapped, right? After the defeat at the Ivorian border, the Wataus of the world actually did their thing. So there is this period, and the 78 that just got deleted. So these are big numbers. So what you have after this situation is that there will be calm. Before the storm, there will always be a calm. So in my own opinion, what I feel is this period of latency is the period where they go back to try to replenish their, their lost soldiers. And remember, I will just let you understand something. These, their lost members that they are replenishing, I don't think they are from the Sahel. I quote. You see, there is a particular tribe, ethnicity that is involved in this, and you don't find them in one region in Africa. They are spread across the whole West Africa, and even some part of the southern hemisphere. You still have them, but maybe minorities and all of that. They are very, very diverse, right? But I think their major breeding ground, I won't lie, we can't sugarcoat it, it's still northern Nigeria. I'm telling you, that is the problem. That is still their major breeding ground. You see the clerics, you see everybody, you see all of their representatives supporting them, and So in my own opinion, right, if the troops can follow the words of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, if they can follow it religiously, I think the chances that you as a soldier, your chances of living longer is very, very high. Your chances of coming out on top in every engagement is very, very high. If you follow the lack of distraction from the mobile phone, you're on the front line, you are always staying ready. Maybe in your mind, you start thinking about how to improve your number of combat kills, right? Or let's say, you will know that this is the latent period where they are planning a big attack. Like he said they can wait a long time to plan just one successful attack, right? So I feel like if the troops are ready, and the troops have no excuse, because at the end of the day, if you look at the equipment that the government has provided for them, is it logistic equipment that you want to talk about? Is it guns? With Burkina Faso soldiers were soldier, and the Malian soldiers and the Nigerian soldiers, but I'm talking about Burkina Faso soldiers here. According to what we heard when France was there, most of you that have seen some of our videos lately, you saw the way the French troops trained them, like boom, 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 boom.
Despite the thousands of French soldiers who have been providing support and training in the Sahel for a decade.
Okay.
Repeated coups have weakened the Malian government.
So they came from soldiers that held sticks to real soldiers that use, empire real estate equipment. They use bulletproof. We've seen the AR, we've seen AK-74, AK-47, PKM. I think we've seen all type of weapons in Burkina Faso. So they use drone now. They are not just moving blindly. They are moving with surveillance, and now they don't have to come out in bunch so as to reduce casualty, since they have a lot of reconnaissance equipment through which they can know where they are going. It further improves their combat capability and their combat awareness. So I think the only thing that actually affects the troops sometimes is maybe I should say complacency. So I believe that Captain Ibrahim Traoré is actually giving these guys the right instruction. He's actually giving them the right instruction. And in my own opinion, I believe that if they can follow these guidelines, honestly, I don't think anything should be stopping them. But that latency period he talks about, I think is something that is for real. Like there's always a latent period where they go ahead and get new soldiers, put them through some training. They are majorly some of those JNIM, they are indigenous too. They bring in the soldiers. Some of them already know the way. They mount their bike and they always prepare this attack for a long time. So I just think this is the opportunity for the Burkinabe soldiers to be very, very prepared. And another thing that has not been talked about is the soldiers, snapping pictures on the front line, actually showing what their environment looks like. And we've seen that in a couple situations where they snap their environment and their unit. You're actually giving out a lot of details about, your unit and all of that, and your environment, where you are, what the situation is. I feel like they should just follow the guidelines of this man. And, I think, if they can do it, the chances of returning back is very, very high. And, I feel like the chances of coming out on top every time they engage in a skirmish with the enemy is very, very high too. All the same, I think good luck to the Burkinabe Armed Forces. You guys are doing a very great service to Africa, because, holding the terrorist element down in the Sahel, depopulating them, is actually, you are doing a lot of help to all of us. I continue to say they are doing a lot of help to all of us. A lot of people don't know what I mean. I mean, people in South Africa and in the, lower hemisphere of Africa might not really understand what I'm saying, but we in Nigeria know what we are saying. I mean, a lot of these guys, just imagine they are not being deleted in the Sahel, and the politicians are negotiating with them like what is going on in Katsina State, what is going on in Zamfara State. This thing is going on almost in every region of northern Nigeria. So imagine how many of these elements will be in Nigeria, and they will start extravasating to other parts of Nigeria. So I'm really, really giving a lot of, that's why I'm giving my full support to the Sahel. You guys are doing a very great service to Africa as a whole. Thank you, guys. What do you think? What do you think, guys? You can give us your opinion in the comment section below. It's your boy 7200 signing out. Enough said, but before I go, I love you all, man. Much respect to all of you on the front line that is actually, fighting very hard for the citizens, so that the citizens can live, so that the citizens can, live their daily life, so that they can do what they do. You are really, really paying. You are ready to pay. It's one of the biggest noble cause anybody can embark upon. You are willing and ready to pay the noble price, the supreme price, so that another person can live. I don't think anything is much more greater than that. So, I mean, just keep staying frosty, keep staying dangerous, because your safety depends on it, and your safety is very important to us. Much salute. I'll see you when I see you.